But first of all, of course, I would like to introduce ourselves. And I am Polina. I am a team lead of what's called the Talent Success Department, Talent Success team. And what my team does is helps to pre-screen and support candidates every step of the way. And today I will be presenting with Anna, our talent acquisition specialist and a tech sourcer. So she puts her energy, heart, and soul into searching for great software engineers, data professionals who would benefit from the platform. She invites them, onboards, and consults them. And today we decided to cover what's expected of a junior candidate on the market, namely how your CV should look like and how you can better prepare for interviews. We have also decided to walk you through a few market facts. We have been collecting knowledge for quite some years now, and our content team supports us a lot. And what we're about to share with you, if applied wisely, will surely increase your chances on the job market.
Fantastic. So let me jump right into it. What should you expect from our talk today? First things first, we'd like to say a few words about Honeypot, what we do and how exactly we do it. And we will share some market insights, as Polina already told you, based on our own research, which is super cool, I find. This will be followed by CV insights and interview tips. Here you should definitely make use of this information. Maybe write down a couple of things, maybe also drop your questions in the Q&A section. Please feel free to ask anything, because this is why we're here. We're here to help you and support you. And of course, there will be a few bonus slides at the end, because we like those, little Christmas cookies at the end. We will hopefully have time for the questions in the end, but if not, again, post your questions in the Q&A section. And if we're out of time, we will make sure to deliver some information to you one way or the other. We will figure out something, okay?
So, yeah, Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the next section is basically what is Honeypot, and here Polina would take over, because she has over 3 years of experience working at Honeypot, and she saw it from the ground up, building up the business and the culture that we are having at the company.
And even though we at Honeypot are not recruiters at our core, we are on a mission to get developers jobs they love by connecting talents and companies. The cool thing about Honeypot is that we use the reverse hiring process, which implies that companies would apply directly to you instead of the other way around. And the only thing you would have to do is to create a profile, pass the screening, and then if companies find your profile suitable for what it is that they're looking for, they will not hesitate to send you an invitation for an interview. And then it's really up to you whether you would like to take on this opportunity or to decline it. And also, we are currently operating in 4 different markets. Germany is our biggest one, then Austria, the Netherlands, and Zurich and Switzerland. And exciting news is that we are also in the process of launching in Barcelona at the moment. And on top of being on a mission to help developers to find the job they love, we also develop a whole new community for them. We do market research and consult recruiters on successful hiring techniques from our client side. And all of the efforts help us make the experience for both candidates and companies as efficient as possible and as painless as possible, as we tend to believe. We are trying to offer as much as possible to our developers. And as I mentioned before, Honeypot is not just a job platform. We are also focusing on building a great community for them. So our content and community team has been constantly working on creating market reports and a lot of valuable content, including documentaries, including data analytics insights, employer branding, joint events, trainings, conferences, a lot of different stuff, and we have a lot of this stuff posted on our Honeypot blog and also on .cult. So this is our specialized media platform. Yeah, so I think as of now we're not gonna dive as deep into the community. I would just encourage you to check it out, and yeah, if you need any links or anything, just feel free to reach out to us.
As an example, of course, we would like to give you a piece of what the content is actually providing you with, what kind of information you can count on. For instance, 2 years ago, we ran a survey to find out what makes our developers happy. This year, we wanted to go a little bit further and find out what really drives you guys as developers. And we got over 1,000 responses from our own developers across Europe. Of course, we would love to share these findings with you. For instance, the number one choice for developers, according to our Developer Ambitions report for the DACH region, is to work for a startup, because there is less bureaucracy and a developer can feel a bit more valued than in a bigger company. The other interesting finding is that nowadays the work-life balance is the most important point for developers considering a new role, which is of course understandable. You want to stay healthy and sane in your job, therefore you can make it do it efficiently. Now, if we are looking about this specific graph here, it's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. The world has changed, and the developers want their job to have a meaning and a positive impact on their lives, and the world around them is what makes a difference for our developers, right? 36% of developers that we have surveyed want to work for a company with a good cause, be that an NGO, maybe a company that provides social impact or environmental impact. So this is something to consider for you as well if you want your job to make you truly happy and feel that you are making the difference in the world. 27% of developers we surveyed are driven by a desire for personal satisfaction and pride. And this, of course, also correlates with the good mission of the company. But it also goes into the direction of learning more tech stack, getting a higher title, experiencing various domains, and so on and so forth, right? But again, when you're taking pride in your job, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are talking only about the technical stuff, right? The pride can be something that you have contributed to an open source community. So this is again something that we found out. And another funny thing that I actually enjoyed reading about is this 50%, it's a half of developers say that community's biggest problem is bad project management. I mean, I really hope that we will see the tendency of this also improving on the market in the next couple of years. But again, this, to my mind, identifies that current developers are also striving for constructive communication, efficiency at work, and this is where project management comes in. Hopefully, in a couple of months or maybe a year, we will see higher numbers when we do our next Developer Ambitions report. And we will see that developers are a bit more satisfied with their peers and folks from the project management side.
So yeah, another juicy piece of content that we have today is one of our most recent salary reports that represents data on the salary expectations for the German market, for backend, front-end, full stack, and even management roles. So let's have a closer look at the first section that I've highlighted in a little box. And for people who just entered the industry with 0 to 2 years of experience. So the salary averages look pretty promising here, but we also have to stay realistic and understand that this data represents the overall German market. And this might mean that some of the locations might offer more than the others. We all know that Bavarian region, Munich, for example, given the high standards of livings and cost, they might provide a higher end of the average, but it varies from specific region to region. So this is very, very important to keep in mind. Also, we were just in the live booth and we got quite a few questions regarding juniors and what to expect. And it varies from case to case. And we also have to keep in mind that juniors with, for example, bachelor's and or master's degrees in computer science or relevant fields. They will be able to benchmark themselves at the high end of the average in comparison to the ones who complete either an Ausbildung or any other vocational training or a boot camp. So, and of course, yeah, there is so much more information provided within the reports. Unfortunately, our time is limited today, but just feel free to check everything out to have a better understanding of the German market in general, and compare the trends with previous years. And yeah, I think right now I'm gonna give a word to Anna about some CV insights.
Yeah, let's go right into the main part, right? So CV insights on how we do this on Honeypot. First, let's check out how we actually use the platform and what we see there as a CV. So software developer is featured on our platform create a profile that serves as a CV, as a portfolio, and a medium of contact. And it's somewhat similar to creating a profile on, say, LinkedIn or Xing, but on Honeypot, it is less targeted at socializing, much more targeted at presenting your skills and aspirations. So, this is what the process for a junior or a boot camper looks like on the platform. First, you sign up, then do a coding challenge that matches your level of skill. Then you have a screening and advisory call with our team where you can also ask all the questions you want to have the answers to. And then you go live to start your interviewing process with the companies. So if we want to dive into an example, for instance, Polina, can you click, please? Because I somehow cannot do it technically. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we use the example of our honeypotter, Mo. Mo is great, but less about Mo, more about the profile itself, right? So due to the GDPR, I decided not to use any real profile and just go ahead with the dummy. But there are three important sections that I would like to highlight. These are the about, desired roles, and summary. The about section you can see on the left. I mean, right now you cannot really enlarge it, but again, we will share the presentation afterwards. You will have the access to this information, no problem. And the about section covers the years of professional experience, preferred employment type, salary expectations, and so on and so forth. Those are the things that the recruiters need to know upfront in order to invite you to the interview. Stating your desired roles is, of course, another important thing, and it is useful to show what you want to focus on, or if you're flexible and you can do like either full stack or a backend or a front end because you haven't decided yet, you don't have that much experience and focus, right? The summary is the place to shine and stand out from the crowd. This is where you can actually apply some creativity, demonstrate your, I don't know, sense of humor, your talent for words, or on the contrary, demonstrate that you're a more kind of a serious person that is not joking around, whatever it is you want to showcase. And in the additional information in the summary, it's kind of the lower section there in the summary, you can highlight your personal projects, open source, or volunteering. Especially if you're starting your career, this is how you kind of compensate for the lack of production experience. And for career changers, we suggest that you highlight your prior experience that basically shaped who you are right now, and what skills you've learned and developed there. Because you could mention your career ambitions, the tech stack you're interested in learning, or how you see yourself in the 3 years. Recruiters love seeing that. But again, if you have relevant experience to the industry, this is your advantage on the market. So use it, please. Overall, Honeypot profile is basically super clear, accessible, and all the important information is highlighted, which makes the recruiter job easier. And again, it's a +1 to you. Now, if we are talking about how you can actually apply this process and this approach outside of Honeypot, first of all, keep it short and simple. I'm telling you this as a recruiter. Less is more. And ideally, your CV would fit onto just one page. The information should be clear and accessible, and make sure, please, to highlight important sections. Further, for you as a developer, the design kind of doesn't matter. Like I've seen all sorts of CVs, completely like bleeding my eyes with the Word documents. And it is important, I can tell you. Presentation matters because a simple and consistent and clear design with a nice layout would make my job as a recruiter easier, which is again +1 to your application. What we also pay attention to is the message itself, of course, and grammar errors and typos are kind of seemingly not that critical, but of course they leave a certain impression, and you should have enough time and patience to proofread your CV. Please use the free version of Grammarly, it works perfectly, and make sure that recruiters concentrate on your skills and experience and not your spelling errors. Please use strong verbs. This is also important because this is how, again, you demonstrate that you kind of committed and you can finish the task. And last but not least, I'm begging you, please convert your CV to a PDF file when you are applying. The Word file would not do, I swear. Now, something that I want to really briefly cover, we don't have that much of a time, but this is important for you as a career changer, for instance. You should mention your past experience outside of software development. Absolutely, yes. But it all boils down to how you sell your past journey. So what would help you ace your application is to start looking for a new job in a familiar industry. For example, you were working as a nurse, then maybe try to find a job in medtech because you understand the kind of the insights of it. Then leverage your soft skills. Because for a junior, this is one of the most important and critical thing. If you were working in sales, then of course you know how to build relationship with various stakeholders. You know how to talk about things in a very exciting way, and you are a great communicator. So use this to your advantage once again. And a little suggestion, try shaping your CV in a way that would logically conclude your choice of switching to software development. Here you can highlight similar tasks, tools, methodologies, and affiliations to the industry. So right now, I can also show you my CV, for instance, and as an example, I'm not a developer, but it can demonstrate you the layout and the overall approach. You see that there are highlighted zones that cover my tech skills, which is, again, important for recruiters to understand whether or not they need to spend a lot of time on my onboarding with the tools. There is a little bio that can demonstrate how my brain works and how I identify with the market and how I can define myself. Top skills, here are the soft skills that are listed because this is super important for me as a recruiter in my job. And of course, the work experience. Here, I would not go into 10 bullet points and super many details. It's rather about, again, how you are presenting the experiences that you had in this or that position. So I would rather talk about your achievements, something that you're proud of, something that you would like to cover during the interview. Talking about the interview, I will give the word to Polina because she's an expert in that.
So yeah, thank you very much. And speaking of the interview and tips, I would like to first give you a little bit of an introduction of the mock interview initiative that we are offering. So this is like one of the main tools that we use in order to collect knowledge. And the aim is to help talents, candidates prepare for the first interview or HR calls with the companies. We understand that a lot of talents, even with remarkable technical skills, might have a hard time selling themselves and expressing themselves to recruiters. So how do we conduct a mock call? Our trained talent success advisors, they pretend to be recruiters. They ask tailored questions for specific companies and positions and then provide feedback and advice for improvement. However, we also would like to emphasize the positives of the overall experience and boost confidence in our candidates. And as of now, this service is being offered to talents who are having ongoing interviews at Honeypot with our clients. So now comes the most crucial part, the interview questions, and it would be pretty impossible to list all of them, but we have defined some major categories. And the first one is motivational questions. As an example, you would be asked, why are you interested in this position? Why would you consider yourself to be a good fit for a specific role? And obviously, this is all about your intentions. You would have to do your research carefully about the company and find what it is that attracts you about it. For example, the industry the company operates in, its products, services, and yeah, showing up in the interview with the knowledge of the company is a very, very big plus. And what would also help is to carefully study the job description of the role and be able to align at least some of the requirements with what it is that you can bring to the table already, even if it is in terms of soft skills. For junior talents who made a switch from another field, very important to explain what motivated you to initiate the switch. Be ready to cover this with your potential employer and try to think beyond the monetary aspect, meaning salaries. Yeah, we are all interested in that, but maybe there is some sort of a creative aspect of a certain degree of flexibility that you would appreciate. Just try to prepare in advance and self reflect beforehand. So the second and third category, situational, behavioral questions, they're quite similar to one another. Situational interview questions, they present a candidate with a hypothetical situation and ask them how you would handle this situation. Behavioral question asks a candidate to recall a past experience or imagine a hypothetical one and describe again how what it is that you did or how you would handle it, meaning the action plan. Example, when you undertake multiple projects with the tight deadlines, how do you stay on track, manage your time? Or tell me about a difficult situation with a colleague or how you approached it. So to answer that, you would have to provide real life examples, which means relating to your prior experience or academics, depending. However, having examples is not just enough. Do not hesitate to elaborate more and provide explanations to the extent possible. There are also always some tricky questions. The favorite category is the negative connotation ones, your weaknesses, failures, mistakes. So a lot of people are being afraid of these questions. So don't be. The first thing to do is to be honest and authentic, to own up to it, not sugarcoat it. If you had previously managed to skip a deadline, please make sure that you state that you are still working on how to overcome this specific weakness, if it is again missing a deadline or some communication skills failures. So again, don't hesitate to be honest about it. And when you state a weakness, a failure, you also should have prepared a but or a however as a second part of the answer to these questions. This, however, would identify your learning or an action plan on what it is that you are doing in order to, again, solve this specific problem. Another question, why you would like to switch job careers. Again, think about motivations. When you try and answer this question, don't say anything bad about your current or past employers, even if you did have unpleasant experiences. Give your answers more of a generic perspective, and yeah, try to elaborate on your anticipation and treat an experience as a learning in the end of the day. Last but not least, by the very end of the interview, you would be asked if you have any questions. Yes, you do have questions. You always have questions. This would show your level of enthusiasm and interest in the company. So yeah, make sure that you prepare at least 3 to 5 questions from different dimensions, and be ready to ask them. So a quick summary of how to put this into practice. Preparation is the key. Test out video, audio settings to avoid any technical issues beforehand. Posture and look straight up, dress appropriately, not being topless, obviously. So to structure your answers, you can use some of the techniques like STAR or methods. There are specific techniques on how to build up a situation, task, action, result, and in the end, explaining the result of your actions. So Prepare different stories from your personal life and prior experience. Research the company again. Do your homework. Show curiosity by asking questions.
Alrighty.
And yeah, so the last one also just a little bit of an overview before you jump into the interview. Get an unbiased opinion from someone else if possible. Practice interview questions beforehand and build awareness around your soft skills.
Okay, let's quickly discuss what you can do after graduating a boot camp. This is, of course, super simple. Keep practicing because you newly acquired skills and learning new ones is what's going to help you to succeed on the job market, of course. So find your best way to do that and stay consistent. As in sports, I mean, practice is key. And of course, seek support in the professional communities because no one can support you in your progression better than people who have already been through the same experience. And the last point, of course, relates to it. While searching for a starting position, search not only for a company, but also for a team because you will learn from the people and not the businesses. So choose your crowd really, really wisely. And here is, for instance, an example of both learning resources and communities to join. I mean, GitHub, of course, is the king. There is no doubt about that. But you can also find really cool people, for instance, doing some videos on YouTube, helping you, answering your questions. They can share their GitHub with you. They can share their Stack Overflow with you. This is really a vast, vast sea of opportunities there. And again, learning and practicing, we will send you this presentation afterwards. You can click on the link. They are super useful. There are some ideas on how to level up your skills. Again, some resources that we're happy to share with you. So make use of that.
So yeah, and the last cherry on top that Anna mentioned in the beginning, we have very limited time, so I hope we're not gonna get kicked out in a minute or something. But also, again, you will be able to check everything out, and we have an example of an interview we did some time ago with Emma Boston, a developer currently working at Spotify, who is also a podcaster and a dev influencer. And within a very short video that we have, we also kind of nailed down 5 tips for junior developers who are trying to break into the industry. And again, we are not going to get tired of stressing the importance of asking questions. There are no dumb questions, remember that. Also, learn to code, practice as much as possible. Make sure that you are learning to code and you are not just learning how to code from the ground, but you also have a look through the open source or your friends' projects, checking out again Stack Overflow, GitHubs, everything you need to know. So take breaks. As a new developer, you will spend a lot of time learning. So we don't want anyone to end up in a situation of a burnout or something. So yes, take steps, take breaks, take your own pace. Find what you like and stick with it as well. Very important to understand that within such a vast variety of different technologies, languages, frameworks, you can think, oh, okay, I'm going to learn this programming language because it is a hype. Don't force yourself. Try to explore your options and see what works best for you, and then your work will be joyful for you as well. And the very last tip is under promise but over deliver, meaning knowing your limits. So if you're asked to work on a feature A in a sprint, make sure you commit to delivering what you can. Even if you know that you can probably do more, it's better to under promise and deliver above and beyond rather than saying that I can do everything and in the end not being able to deliver anything. This will help build bridges with your team and establish yourself as a reliable and efficient team member, I would say.
All right, so we are actually perfectly on time with the presentation, and I've checked a couple of your questions, guys. I just also wrote them down for myself. First of all, David, I want to start with yours. How do we get the slides? You will get the slides from the next steps from the organizers. We have already shared our presentation with them, so they will just do a mailing list, and you will get it as soon as they do it, I guess, after the event, either today or in the next couple of days. Then Anastasia asks, how long down the totem pole should one go to get a foot in the door? If I interpret your question correctly, I would say it depends on your threshold, right? And how much you can compromise, right? You are starting a new job, right? You're starting basically as a junior, and you're gonna you're gonna make some sacrifices here, right? If you are already, I don't know, a head of sales, and now you want to go as a junior developer, be ready to to take on the job that might be a little bit tedious, might be a little bit boring, or it's not gonna meet your expectations as a kind of super senior person on the market in terms of, I don't know, maybe the process organization, right? Maybe the seniority of other people around you. But again, there is no other way for you to learn. You got to start from the ground. You're not going to be a like super skyrocketing developer from the first day on, right? Therefore, you need to decide your own your own level of how low you can go in terms of salary, responsibilities, and so on and so forth. I cannot say that the lowest is the best. Not absolutely not. The best is what you consider to be best for you in this situation. Then now we have a question from Christina. Would you recommend to add work permit in CV? I think it makes the chance of the candidate weak. If there is a choice between the person with work permit and without, even at the first stage, the preference will be given to the candidate with a work permit. What do you think? Thanks for the answer. I would say it's very arbitrary. If a company is not ready to relocate or hire a person that needs a visa support, they will not do that. It's just not going to happen. If they are not prepared for that, they don't have processes, they don't have legal team, they don't have budget for that. It's just not going to happen, whether you want it or not. But if they are open, they would rather look at your skills and your talents and your work experience as at your visa or work permit, whatever it is, right? So I would say state it, because it's gonna be found out one way or the other. You don't want to waste time on the companies that are not ready to accommodate your very important need for the documents. So if they are not hiring people with the visa support, for instance, then why do you need this company? Why do you need to waste time on conversing with them? I had many conversations with various companies, also as a candidate, for instance. For me, it was very important to find a job that would give me the option to work remotely. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. You can be the best candidate ever. If they don't have a process in place for that, if they don't have the legal system in place for that, they're not going to do it. Same with the work permit situation. Just be honest and say that upfront that this is your requirement, and then you will get into very productive conversations. Do you recruit, Catherine, the last one?
Wait. Yeah, event support already came from.
Okay, we gotta go.
So yeah, guys, please feel free to approach us on LinkedIn, and we will be able to answer your questions over there. If you have any, just send us a message. We'll get back to you within 1 to 2 days max. And thank you very much, and I hope it was helpful. And yeah, let's connect and keep in touch. Bye.
Thank you very much for cool questions. Bye-bye.